welcome to another AMA Ask Me Anything type of video. And we're going to start with these few key questions right here. But first of all, and it's crazy because in 2 weeks I will actually be in Vegas for the Olympia. So there's that going on. And actually the first question is, anything crazy planned for the Olympia? I don't know what you mean by crazy, but I've been working on a nice routine and I've been working on it since the beginning of the prep. So it's been like 15 weeks. I've been practicing a routine and building it, and I got it down pretty good now. And it's pretty cool because I'm not going to show it because I want to keep it a surprise, but it's pretty much like an evolution. I will explain why I chose to do that routine. The beginning part is like a lot of powerful poses. It's like I'm fighting something, and then I get defeated. I go on the ground. The music kind of like changed to a slower paced music, and it's all ground poses. And then I rise again with some epic music, and the music is from Lord of the Rings. And then I am triumphant again. And then the last part, the crazy part, is I actually got a metal band to do a song screaming like singing Olympia. That's pretty cool. And there's I think part of my signature stuff now when I compete in general is having some type of sword included. So there's something about a sword in there too. So I will only say that. So you'll have to either buy the stream or be there in person to see it. But I don't know if it's crazy, but I put a lot of work into it and emotion, and it's gonna be my way to express myself on the world's biggest stage for bodybuilding. So there's that. At what age did you learn English? Did you know any other languages? Do you think and dream in your own languages? I learned English. I took after school classes for English. This is when I got a little bit better. I remember I was in the 6th year of elementary. I think I was 11 years old. I was taking classes after school. My mom made me do that. And then everything that I watched on the internet and that I've read on the internet was all in English. And going back to the tricking, I was on tricking forums and I would talk to people in English and I would read English and I would watch videos and stuff in English, read English magazines, So I learned English pretty young. I think at 13 I was able to speak English. And then the first time I really used English, I think I was 2003. I went to Toronto with my friend Cobb by myself. 2003, how old was I? I was like 15 or something. I went to Toronto by myself to meet up with like other tricksters to do flips in the grass, like a bunch of dorks. And I actually organized that myself with Cobb. It was pretty cool. And it was my first time using English like all day. And I did, I think even when you're submerged, you don't have a choice. And people can help you out if you don't find words and they just think it's funny because you're trying. So then after that, I don't know. And my English got pretty much well developed because I was speaking a lot of English online, I guess, with my videos. This is where I practice the most, I guess. Because now I live in Ontario. It's an English-based province in Canada. The only place French in Canada is Quebec, pretty much. Well, there's French Canadians scattered around, of course. But back when I was living in Quebec, the only time I was speak English was with my English-speaking friends. Like Mike Johnson back in the day was my training partner. Or I was speaking online to people. As far as thinking, now I think in English. It depends. I know that when I get tired, Taylor, when I get tired, I start speaking French to you. No, I'm so tired, I start speaking French because it's my base, first language is French, right? So I will speak in French. But in what language do I dream? Yeah, I don't know if I can even hear stuff it's like the thing with language is that you hear the sounds, then you will understand what the sound mean in your head. But I think it was when you're dreaming, you understand the things that could be spoken about with the language in real life, but you don't need for it to be spoken because you're in your head. So I don't think I can't tell. Maybe both, but I don't hear the language. I think English, but also French sometimes. I'm not sure. That's a good question, actually. Dreams are weird. One time, during some of my party days, I took a bunch of stuff and said, I'm going to go to bed. And then I had the most lucid dream ever. And then in the morning, I wake up and I look. It was like 9 a.m., whatever. I look on the table and there was 9 pages that I wrote. 9 pages placed side by side on the table that I wrote. And I've actually woke up twice during that night, and I remember when I woke up that I was writing and drawing the dream that I had, but I wrote it in reverse because I could only remember the end of it, and as I would remember the backwards. But also, it was I learned a lot of stuff that day. It's about dreaming, is that the dreams, I actually dreamed 3 dreams at once at the same time. Because there's no time really in dreaming. You can never see the dream starts there and ends there. It's always open starting, open ending. It's kind of weird. So, and then the 3 dreams I dreamed about had kind of the same, there were elements to it that were kind of the same steps, same story, but it was different place, different people, and different environment. but they were all like overlapping each other. And when I drew and wrote the dream, the three dreams were overlapping, and I could see what it was about. There was one part I was like, for example, there was one part I was looking for something in a car, and I was like stressing out, like because I thought I would be missing out of something. I was in a car, and then at some point I had to escape that hotel room place. See that? There was a car in a hotel room. Doesn't make sense. And then as I was running away, I was jumping from roof to roof, but I was actually in the car. The car was jumping roof to roof, and I was being chased by like Amazonian like tribe people, but because they thought I killed their king. But at the same time, in my dream, I was guilty because my friend died of an overdose in my dream, and it was a whole thing about guilt and trying to escape. And I remember this part where I was like, it's like the whole dream world that I was in the universe. You ever saw the Truman Show where it's like the guys like in a fake world and you hit the wall, and then on the other side of that, it's like there's like a cameras, the studio, there's a real world. Well, I was like kind of running up in the hallway, and the walls were like kind of closing in. I was chasing somebody, the old man. It was like an old man who was like an evil old man, was kind of responsible for like luring me in, and he kind of framed me in killing the king. At the same time, it was kind of his fault that my friend had an overdose or whatever. And I was chasing after him up and up and up, and the wall was closing in. And then I see him jump on the other side. He kind of like left the universe I was in, kind of like this filming studio, whatever it was. I was like, once I get past that, I'll be free and I'll be able to catch the guy, and justice will be served and everything will be okay, and I'll deal with it. And then he jumps. It's like a square. It's like picture a corridor going up, and there's like a little square. He jumped in a square, and that's on the other side. So I see him jump. So I'm gonna catch up to him. I run, and then I'm about to jump, and then you know when you walk into a screen because you don't see it with a pass-through door. So there was a glass wall that I didn't see, so I slam against the wall and fall back down the corridor. The walls are closing in, and then you can hear the old guy say, "Ha ha ha ha! You will never escape the catacombs of hell." And then I was like, I fucking electric shocked, and I thought I was dying, and I woke up. I was like, holy shit, that was a weird dream. And then but the crazy thing is that I wrote it all down, like I said, pages, and I kept that dream for like years in a briefcase until finally one day I threw it away. Should have kept it. So yeah, I guess he did say he was talking in English in that dream. Ha ha ha! You will never escape the catacombs of hell. That was English. Oh, I answered your question. Anyways, there was more to it to that dream, but there's just crazy stuff. Another question here: your editing skills seem to be a hidden talent until you show us your designs. They put out the latest videos on IG. Do you have any other hidden talents? Taylor, do I have any other hidden talents? Other than editing and stuff. It was meant to be a joke, but I guess there's nothing else. Yeah, man, I started doing my videos by myself like since I'm like very young. And the design stuff, I literally just started that. When you're trying to learn stuff and you're like, how do I do that? Then you go on YouTube, find tutorials, and then you gotta find the right tutorial, you listen, try it out. And for some reason, the thing I'm using right now for designing is called Corel Draw, the 2022 version. Pretty much all the tutorials on YouTube are from the older version. Like all the buttons are not in the same place, but the funny thing is that there's some guy that he sounds like Dr. Phil. But yeah, any other hidden talents? I mean, I do a little bit of art stuff, but now my art stuff is mostly done like I'm trying to learn these designs and I'm having fun with it or having rage with it. Can be fun, but frustrating sometimes. Other than that, I don't know. I like yoga. I mean, I'm not good, but better than most people. Hidden talents. Shit. I don't know. It's a good question. Like, what are my hidden talents? I guess I don't know. Like, if somebody would tell me, like, do you have any other talents other than bodybuilding? I'm like, I would have not have said edit video or anything. Yeah, art. But like video editing, I guess I'm alright, but it's because I'm hanging out with like Juji's like way better than me at editing, and I know a bunch of video editors. Laura's amazing. Like, there's people better than me, so I don't think I'm like good, but I can get by. And I'm getting better as the years go by too, right? Yeah, so let's get some other questions here. I saw some here. The question was, do you regret anything? That's always been a tricky question because I could say I regret whatever, not stopping drugs after the first time I noticed I had a problem. But then again, all the mistakes that happened after that, I got stuff out of it. So it's like, okay, maybe I could have had like less suffering in my life, and most of all, I could have caused less suffering to other people through my own selfish mistakes. But then again, I wouldn't be the same person I am now. It would be another version of Antoine that didn't learn all this shit. And you know, sometimes when you're like, Taylor, remember when I was saying like what I like about women in general and you and stuff is that sometimes I don't like when I connect more with people that suffered. I like when girls suffered, when people suffered in their past and they went through a struggle and overcame. It makes such a better person. It's like, do I want to be different right now? No, not right now. I mean, back then it would have been cool to like not do the mistake because there was bad consequences, but those consequences made me learn because I'm pretty stubborn, hard-headed, and if I didn't have any consequences, I would have kept doing the mistakes I was doing. So do I regret anything? I just wish that, for example, I could have made these mistakes and only I would have suffered and not other people. You know, like, of course, but that's not reality. Even with bodybuilding, like, I could have taken it more seriously before. If I didn't like party as much, I would have been a better bodybuilder. Who knows where I could have been? But these are all what ifs. What ifs and what's the expression? You know, it's really what ifs and what's this? But it's an expression. What ifs? Should have. What if? Should have. Should have. Yeah. Woulda. Coulda. Should have. Whatever that means. It just means that you can think about the past, how things could have been differently, but you can't control the past because it's not even real anymore. The past is only replayed as a memory in your head. It's only like something you make up in your head. Just like the future. The past is as not real as the future. Because the future, you try to guess what's going to happen. You create an image in your head. You create a scenario in your head, which is fiction. The past, same thing. You create it in your head. You just think about it. It's not even real. What's real? It's like this table here for me right now. And what's real for you, the listener, is the chair or the truck or the cardio machine you're on right now or just the feeling of your hands. That's what's the only thing that's real. There's everything you can touch with your senses in the room you're in right now, in the place you're in right now. That's the only thing that's real. Everything else is a creation in your head. So if you're really in the moment and in the place you're in right now, there's like, this is where suffering can be the least. But if you want to create your own suffering, just start thinking. How about the past? How about the future? Think about the future too much, you'll be anxious. You'll have anxiety. Think about the past too much, you might be depressed. You might be like, wondering what could have been done and just like feeling sad about yourself, feeling sorry for yourself. No, get out of the slump. Get out of the future, get out of the past, get in the now. That's why they call the present the present, because it's a gift. What's the thing we say, our inside joke? The president choice. It's a president gift. I don't know. It's an inside joke. I can't think about it right now. But yeah, Amazon Prime. Okay, next question.
Today's gift, that's why they call it the present.
The president choice. What's your biggest fear in life? Jesus Christ, those questions. My biggest fear in life. I guess it will be always, if I go back with like my traumatic childhood, it would be the fear of not being good enough, abandonment, not being left out, not being good enough. It's all things that I've been in the background of my life. But sometimes the fear is what drives us, right? So why did I want to perform so much as I did in bodybuilding and everything I try to do? I try to like be good at it and just be better and just always try to improve. And I feel like it's what I'm doing is never enough. But because of that, I'm always trying to do more, which makes me go forward because of fear probably. But the thing is, so like fear can be good if you kind of like see where it's coming from. You realize after the fact that, this is why I'm doing this. But if you let it consume you, then you're just fucking stuck, right? Sometimes people with fear, they'll just freeze. They'll just run. Fight. Are you a fighter? Are you a runner? Are you a freezer? But anyway, or fridge. Why you got hammer feet? I've never heard that.
What does that mean?
Hammer feet. I have a big toe. That's why it's called a big toe. Supposed to be big.
The size of my fist.
Hey, it's good for balance. Alright, let's do another one. Favorite banana flavor? I like the bananas when there's a little bit brown on it. Yeah.
What kind of a question is that?
I have no idea. I'm trying to answer.
You did? Okay, we did buy red bananas.
Yeah, red bananas are good.
They taste like normal bananas.
Yes, but there's a little bit of hint of raspberry.
No,
Google says. Google says it. But they're good in smoothies though. Because they're smaller, they had a little bit of taste of banana without having a full banana. These questions are weird. Let's do another one and call it a day. What is the most food you've ever eaten after a competition show?
Tampa.
You know what you saw? What did I eat? Why don't you tell them?
Have an entire meal right before we go out to a restaurant. Get 3 appetizers, a meal, and desserts. And then we come home and you'd say immediately, right when we get home, I'm starving. And then make another full meal.
And then I fell asleep.
No, at one point you fell asleep, but you had ice cream coming from Uber Eats. So much food. You fall asleep and I'm like, it's like 2 in the morning. I'm like, I'm not going to get ice cream from some random delivery person. I had to wake you up to go get it.
Did I eat it?
Yeah, you ate it.
That's right.
2 tubs of ice cream and went back to sleep.
Well, I guess she answered my question for me. I was going to say I'm very, very responsible and control myself for the show. I guess things have been worse before. I don't know. The thing with show. The hunger part is that the hormone doesn't rebalance itself even if you eat a full day of food. It takes like a little bit of a time, like 2 weeks, and sometimes even longer, depending how hard you pushed your diet. So yeah, I guess that was a good example. Let's end it on that. All right. So thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel. And if you have questions, don't forget to ask them away, right? Ask me anything. And there's other pros on the roster too you can ask questions to, like James Allenshed, Guy's sister Nino, Lee Priest, and who else? Oh, Evan Santopani. And I think Milos Sarchev is in there too. Man, maybe missing somebody, but that's a great opportunity for you guys to get information from some pros. They call me a professional. Professional in what? You might say. It doesn't matter because it's my profession to be a professional. And on that note, you have a nice evening, day, morning, or whatever. Second, minute. Bye. Say bye.
Bye.
Bye.